Welcome to a live stream with me, your favorite live streamer. I don't know. I gotta come up with like a. Can I say? Yeah. Anyway, hi. Welcome to Cornelius's show about things that interest you. Like and subscribe. And now introducing your hosts with the most, etc. Wow, I lost like fucking all of the viewers the moment I started talking. That's hilarious. Wave if you're still here, and we're gonna give folks a chance to find the stream. What's up, Wandering Way? Oh, on the fly soon, sent some money to my PayPal before I went live. I saw that. Thank you so much. You're the best. That's phenomenal. Yeah, so I want to start doing streams regularly again, and I think I'm gonna do like maybe a week or so of just like Slab City related content. Because you know, there's been a lot of crazy shit going on in Slabs, and when I was gone for a few years, there was a lot less Slab related content and a lot less representation. So I you know, I want to do my part at least in like putting out as much information as I can, especially ahead of the winter season, so that people that are traveling will have some time to plan coming out here for the winter, for the on season. Don't come here yet; it's way too hot still. It doesn't start cooling down until October. I mean, to a slabber, September is pretty decent, but it's still like upper 90s or so. Right now, it's probably, it was like 105, 107 degrees outside. I'm inside my trailer, obviously. It's nice in here. Actually, I mean, y'all might still think it's pretty hot. It's almost 90 degrees in here still. It's 89.8. Whoops. Dang it. But compared to 100, it's probably pushing 110 at this point. I didn't look at the high today yet. But yeah, it's nice in here. I thought that I had put an energy drink in my cooler this morning, and I didn't. I'm like really tired for some reason. I can't stop yawning. So I do have some cold water, and I'm gonna make my own energy drink. I said this before on a stream, but like if you're the kind of person that buys an energy drink or two every day, you should really think about just getting some caffeine powder and adding it to whatever beverage that you want to. Like, you could make mocktails, but instead of booze, it's got caffeine in it. You know, you could add it to your favorite soda. You could add it to fucking, you know, like what I'm doing is I got some dollar store, oh wait, no, I don't know if I have any of that left. I got some dollar store drink mixes, super cheap, and I got like really fun flavors, and then I just add like caffeine powder to it. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's a lot cheaper. Holy shit, it's so much cheaper. Who's got fucking money for that, you know? Like, I sure don't. 2 energy drinks a day. It's like $5 for the good energy drinks now. That's an expensive fucking habit. I don't know. Alright. Let's see who's in chat. Cool top. I can't tell where the tattoo starts and where it ends. Nice. Yeah, it kind of all together. It's still hot in Imperial County during Halloween. Even in a costume wearing a mask for Halloween, you're sweating. Yeah, it is. it is still like warm. To people that aren't from the desert, it's definitely hot. To people that are from the desert, it's nice, but it's still, you know, you'll get sweaty. Wait, Russia says they cut our electricity the other day. It was the first time I saw my cats pant. Yeah, cats pant too. It's not a lot of people know that. I think they're a lot better at like radiating their body heat because of their like big ears and their body type, but they do pant because they can't sweat. But yeah, today I wanted to talk about. I want to get back into talking about like subjects, and probably I'm going to do like different subjects about slabs, and maybe I'm going to be trying to get some folks in here to do interviews with me. So if you're a slabber and you want to do maybe not necessarily an interview, but just like hang out and talk, and you know, talk about a specific slab related topic. I've got a few people in mind that I want to ask to come and talk to me on stream. And if I can, then I want to announce my streams like a week in advance, like schedule some out. But we'll see how that goes, because if you've been following along for a while, you know, logistically it's still kind of difficult. But you know, I'm trying, and now I want to be putting this content out because I want to attract the right kind of crowd out here this season. Like, Slab's got pretty not great for a few years, and there definitely has been like an influx of like bad drugs, like hard drugs. Around the time that I ended up leaving for the road, actually was the first time somebody had tried to sell me blues, and that was pretty gross. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I knew what FET was, but I didn't know that you know, I didn't know the terminology like that. And it's still a problem. But one of the biggest ways that people are kind of moving toward a better Slab City is there's been a real priority on support to people who are dealing with addiction, as well as just like the overall culture has shifted from kind of just like kind of wook-ish sort of like ideas about, you know, like, oh, it's no rules, party and do drugs, etc. I mean, Slabs is pretty cool about drugs, at least like party drugs and psychedelics and stuff, but it's kind of not like the top of people's list of things to do. What I've been seeing this summer is a lot of people putting a lot of work into community support and really just like trying to look out for each other, and address issues that affect us all. And there has been a lot of progress in that. So I'm really grateful to my community for throwing down this summer and just like really stepping up to support people, and kind of coming up with different ways of handling things. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Aaron? Says, I made the live feed. Fuck yeah. Awesome. Looking regal as fuck. Thank you. Satan? I'm gonna give Satan a little treat. Let's see. Yeah, there's been a lot of like cultural shift out here, and I really love to see it, because like to me, in my experience, like Slabs is a really community oriented place. Here, Satan, come up here. Yeah. Ugh. And it gets a bad rap in, you know, in the media or whatever, and from the public, because, you know, because classism mostly. I'm gonna put this fan on the back of my phone because I can feel it's already getting really hot, unfortunately. Ugh. Sapphire is posting links in the chat. Thank you so much. We do have a Discord, and if you want to get down with the kickdown, I am really running low on funds at this point, and if I run out, then I'm not going to be able to run the generator and keep Satan cool. She's really struggling, like, mobility wise, and like, she gets hot really easy, even though she's used to being out here, and it costs me like 10 to 20 bucks a day to run the generator with the gas prices the way they are. So any help you can, and also, yeah, I don't have EBT right now, so that's cutting into things. I'm going through kind of a transitional stage myself. Hey, what's up, Zig? Fuck, I saw you were in the hospital, man. I hope you're doing all right. So, let's see. I'm trying to think of where to start. I think maybe I'll roll a spliff here and get my brain juices flowing. I ended up doing this stream and scheduling it because I got kind of on a thought process about, like, how much I've seen Slabs change since the time that I first started coming out here. And when I first started coming to Slabs, it was in a major social shift, especially because, you know, social media was becoming more used, and it was around the time that, like, everybody started having a cell phone, and, you know, the way that we communicate as a species and as a society was changing a lot. Back in the early days, before cell phones, Slab City's been here since the years changed. Like, it became officially kind of colloquially known as Slab City in 1952, I believe, but technically began to exist in 1948. And, you know, it's really hard to get verification on those dates and years, but that's just the general kind of corroboration from old timers that I've spoken to that know the history more intimately than I do and have been around for longer. But when I first started coming to Slabs, it was in like 2011, and this was around the time that it was shifting from being like really like underground, in that it was really hard for people to like find, like, you had to literally come out and find Slab City. Like, I don't know if there were like articles written about it back then that you could find. I'm sure somebody wrote an article about it somewhere, but like, you couldn't just go on the internet and search Slab City back then. You know, you would have to like meet somebody who would tell you about it, or you know, read like a local article or something. And, you know, being all the way out here, if there's no grid, you know, because this is off grid, you're off the water and power grid, so that means that there's not like a phone line out here. The way that people used to communicate was through CB radio, and that was really important back then, because you couldn't get on your signal chat and be like, hey, can anybody take me to the fucking hospital or whatever. Like, you know, there was like a check-in with the CB radio, I think every morning or something. And actually, what I hear is that there was a check-in like every few hours, and if you didn't hear a response back from somebody on the list, then they would send somebody over to go check on them and make sure they're not dead, like, especially in the summer. But when I first started coming around was the time that that there was a lot of young folks coming out here for the first time, and I remember that there was a lot of like animosity between the young folks and the old timers. The old timers kind of resented young people for like changing slabs. You know, change is always hard, and it's hard to tell if it's like a good thing or a bad thing. I think it was, you know, it was just different. It wasn't necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just that's the way the passage of time works, I guess. But back in that day, a lot of the clubs and like collectives were like segregated by age. There was a number of places where, like, you know, if you were younger than 55 or whatever, you were just not allowed to join the club or like hang out. And the Oasis Club was kind of the bridge between that. Like, it was definitely still very oriented for old timers, and they did not necessarily like to see young folks coming in, but they were welcoming. And I remember meeting Mike Bright there, and he was bitching about young people. I went in to, like, you know, for the first time to get like some coffee and see what was going on, what was up, what the vibe was. And I go in, and he's talking to Builder Bill, like bitching about all the young folks, and he's like, you know what, I don't hate them, you know, like, God bless them, they're fine, but like they're so fucking stupid, you know, like shit like that. And I was like, yeah, young people are fucking stupid. And he's like, yeah, who the fuck are you, you know? It was like, it was during a very different time, and a lot of people weren't super happy about all of the young punks and hippies coming in. Rainbow brought a lot of folks in. There was a while that there was like rainbow gatherings that would be kind of close by here, and then they would come through Slab City afterward and stay for the season, a lot of them. And then there was a point where like Rainbow kind of decided to do something different. I don't know if it was like Slab City related or not. But then there was the Black Sheep Gathering, which is like the Rainbow Kid rejects, people that, you know, have gotten like kind of blacklisted from rainbow gatherings, or, you know, just don't vibe with it. So they came up with their own gathering, which is Black Sheep. And that used to be, I think, maybe in Quartzsite. I feel like it was at different places, but it was near Slabs. And then they would all come to Slab City afterward and camp. And that was actually a real problem because, you know, Rainbow Kids are annoying enough, but Rainbow Kid rejects, fucking bottom of the barrel shit. They were horrible. And that's not to say that every single one of those folks that was involved in that is a terrible person, but it was not great to have large groups of them out here, because they'd come out here and be super schwilly and leave a mess, and they had absolutely no respect for the culture out here and the society that was out here, which gave young folks and dirty kids and travelers like me back then a bad name. It made all of us look like shitheads. So I was always like really anti Black Sheep Gathering, because they started putting out like official statements saying like, you know, we're gonna do our Black Sheep Gathering here, and then we're all gonna go to Slabs. And I would go and like I would talk shit on them and be like, don't fucking come to Slabs, you guys trash shit every time. There was one year where they were actually considering having their Black Sheep Gathering in Slab City, and a number of people went online to say like, fuck you guys, don't do that, you know. Stale Fry Bread says, are you going to day how Slabs is changing or just ramble on? Stale Fry Bread, how about you go fuck yourself? I have an hour of time to film, so I'm giving some background because it's important for context to see what my overall statement is. So if you're not interested, you can move along and eat my fucking shit. Isn't that right, Satan? And John here. Hey, we got some new folks in chat. Really funny. I'm gonna hide you on my channel and get the fuck out of here. There we go. Alright. There we go. Anybody else fucking bored with Slab City history, which gives you an idea into how Slab City is changing, and only in the last like few months. Because in order to understand the real change of Slab City culturally, you have to understand where we've come from my personal experience. So raise your hand if you're fucking bored. And send me your favorite emoji if you would like me to continue. And if you think stale fry bread is a dum-dum, then send me $5. There we go. All right. Hey, pirate flag. Yar, what's up? Excellent. We got a lot of emojis in here. I don't see any raised hands. So I guess, yeah, nobody else is bored. Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn on my fucking tablet so that way I can actually, because it's gonna take a long time for it to boot up, and I want to be able to see if anybody's kicking down. Where is my fucking? Where's my tablet? Man, I gotta get things more organized in here. I'm pretty good with organization, but oh, here it is. Wait, nope. I just thought I put it up here. Yeah, what the hell? I got this little new dresser. Oh, you can't see it. This is behind my fan. But I found it when I was in LA. So I got a little dresser by my bed that I can put stuff in. But I definitely want more drawers and shit I can organize better in here. So I want to be able to shout people out, take down. This is really weird. Where the hell did it go? All right, where was I when I was ranting? Anybody remember where I was at? This is weird. Where did my shit go? Rob K says, hey, still chill out. Maybe I put it in here. Yeah, I don't know where it went, man. Yeah, I feel like people's attention spans are fucking burnt to shit because you're all fucking not all you cool people, but people that say shit like stale fry bread did. You just want like instant gratification. You want to fucking see 2 seconds of a video and get that hit of dopamine and scroll on and scroll on and scroll on and scroll on. Yeah, that's not this channel. So, you know, if that's what you're looking for, you're in the wrong fucking place. It's not my problem. It's your problem. Like I said, I got an hour to fill here. Yeah, sorry I can't find my tablet. But if you kick down, then I will see it afterward. I think actually I didn't put my do not disturb on this time either, so hopefully nobody calls me or anything. But I can see my PayPal updates, so if somebody sends through PayPal, I'll see it. My hair's kind of doing a weird thing. Anyway, where the fuck was I? 2011, 12, 13, 14. Those 4 years before it was about 3 years before I moved into this space here, what was left of Lizard Tree Library, which was Rosalie's library, and before I built Slab City Library, incorporating Lizard Tree Library. Aaron says totally like long form on this channel. Yeah, this has always been a long form channel. I have started putting out shorts, but that's not what I do here. On the fly says did send money via PayPal. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That helps a lot. That's another day and a half or 2 days of running the generator, so I appreciate that. Satan appreciates it a lot. Like me, I can thug it out. And it wasn't even that hot yesterday. It was overcast, so it wasn't too bad. But Satan, I just can't stand seeing her pant and struggle. She's already, she's already having mobility issues, and she can't play like she used to. So I want to keep her cool. And also, when I've got the AC going, I found my computer so I can start working on some editing again. It was in a really stupid spot. Of course, that's just kind of a thing that I do. Anyway, so during my first few years here, coming here in Slabs, I came seasonally. So I only saw like the winter period of the year. And for people that have been watching me for a while, you already know a lot of what I'm saying, but I want to talk to newer folks too, and I think I'm going to be doing a lot of recap content in my streams and interviews in the next like week or two to kind of bring new folks up to speed with where we're at now, and also condense all of that information from years and years and years of talking about this shit into some new fresh content that people can just watch that instead of having to go through all of the effort of watching all of my like over 200 videos. Civi Mod Squad Unite. Hell yeah, best mods in the West. So I saw a lot of like I was part of that new blood in Slabs, coming from being a dirty kid on the road, and I still have like ties into that culture, and I've talked about the difference between dirty kids and bums and hobos, and tramps, etc. And these are all just classifications that help you to identify what we're talking about, but like nobody is a monolith. Like I was a dirty kid at that point, but I had more shit going on, and now I would consider myself somewhere between tramp and hobo, and also slabber. And I'm 37 now, so I'm definitely not a kid. Dirty kids are like younger folks, not necessarily like a minor, but like 25 or younger. I've heard some people call themselves dirty kids and they're like 27 or something. It's not like a hard line. It's just like a younger person that is like homeless and traveling. Sapphire says, thanks, Corn. Hell yeah. So there was a lot of that kind of subculture discovering Slabs back in that day, and there was a lot of people out here, and it really upset kind of the cultural balance in Slabs, where it was really just like super off the beaten path. You had to know somebody to find this place, and changing into kind of a spot where young travelers would meet up for the winter and just kind of hang out, and not have to pay anybody to be there, camp out, and like a lot of folks came out here to do drugs. A lot of people do still. And there was kind of a period after I moved into the library. I built a bar here and ran like a speakeasy sort of situation, and a lot of other bars and establishments after that started popping up. So they're kind of like, with the shift of all of these younger folks and people that have no respect for the culture that existed out here, that kind of shifted into a few years of like a pervasive bar culture across Slabs. And there was a point where there was like a dive bar on most blocks, and you could totally just like bar hop across Slabs, and half the time you wouldn't even have to spend any money at these places. Like, a lot of them relied on tourists, and that's another big part of the shift in Slabs, is more tourists came out along with the travelers that would come out and meet each other. Salvation Mountain obviously started bringing a lot of tourists in, but mostly they would stop at Salvation Mountain and not come all the way into Slab City. Most of those people still don't know that Slab City exists. They just know Salvation Mountain as a tourist destination. But with all of these new establishments that were popping up, and older establishments that were now welcoming new people, tourism started reaching Slabs. So a lot of people that otherwise would not have been able to survive out here were able to kind of come up with a hustle. And that brought in a lot of tourist culture and traveler culture, and just kind of over time became kind of the standard. Like if you wanted to be able to be in slabs and you didn't have like a pension or like a retirement fund or a trust fund or something, and you wanted to make it work, you could build some type of establishment, whether it be a dive bar, that's an easy one to do, or just like a tourist shop for like souvenirs and stuff, or like a venue, or trade shop, or like the library slash bar. Then you know that became a viable way to kind of fund yourself. Like you're not going to get rich doing that, but you know you'll be able to make a little bit through donations and whatnot, just for being there. And on record, you know, I'm like, we're not like, nobody's selling things, and people that do sell stuff get targeted. They do get targeted by what is it, the food and beverage feds. So on record, you know, it's all donation based, and that's honestly like better for our values as a little culture as well. One of the original Slab City like sticker designs featured a $sign for the S that was crossed out. A lot of people didn't want capitalism becoming a big part of the society out here, but you know, people still got to make their way. So that's why the library operates the way that it does. And the way that I've run this establishment has had a big impact on how other people run their stuff too. I've led by example. My philosophy is to show rather than tell, and if you show people that what you're doing is working, they'll naturally want to emulate you. You don't have to tell them what to do. They'll just be like, oh yeah, that works, and then they'll do their own version of that too. So my reestablishing of the library and building what's here now and running it the way that I did have a big impact on how other people did their establishments. And I also looked to original Slab City establishments to kind of guide me in how I wanted to run my space, and kind of, you know, did what worked. Conspiracy Theorist says, welcome new reprobate fam. Hello, yeah, welcome to folks. Stale Fried Bread says, okay, but how has it changed? I'm literally telling you. Do you have shit in your ears, bro? Like, what do you want me to say to you? I don't know what you're looking for here. I'm giving you a comprehensive history of the changes in Slab City. I don't know, like, what you're trying to fucking get me to say here. Les says, it's been 5 years since I discovered your channel. I really love the content and your frankness. Thank you. Welcome back. Glad to have you with us today. Ugh. And also, for impatient fry bread heads, fucking no shade on fry bread. It's a fucking wonderful invention. But you're making it look stupid by acting like a dipshit right now. For people with tiny attention spans, Slab City has always been changing. It's always been in flux since before it was a place where people lived after the base got closed down after World War II. So it's always been in flux. Every year, every season here is different. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I capitalize on clickbait titles, right? This is a question that a lot of people ask, and that brings a lot of people in, as evidenced by new people coming into my stream. How has Slab City changed? Click. Duh. Come on now. Alright? Use your noggin. Crone Mentality says, you're fucking weird, bro. Thanks. Appreciate you. Richie says, anarchy for life. We love you, Corn. Hell yeah. When did it change? I'm confused as fuck. So I don't know what, like, I don't know what you're confused about. um, so anyway, so I did a lot to kind of create sort of a standard for younger folks. And I'm not trying to take full credit for it. There was a lot of people doing that at the time. Most of them aren't here anymore, so take that as you will. But some of them have returned, and some camps and some establishments have been. There was a lot of like seasonal pop-up camps back then, mostly based around like a dive bar, but also with other things to offer. And before I moved into this space, the only other comparable establishments that were inspiring to me was, you know, the internet cafe, which was really important to me when I first came out to Slabs, because like a lot of dirty kids, I didn't have like a real phone. You know, Android phones were common back then, but a lot of people that were traveling and homeless still didn't have them and used like flip phones or just didn't use phones. I sometimes had a phone, sometimes didn't, and I always had my laptop. Not this one, but similar ones. And I would bring them over to the internet cafe almost every day, because that was the only place where you could plug in your shit and charge your stuff. Internet cafe had a lot of power back in that time, and it was really important just for people to be able to charge their shit and, you know, check in with their families on the internet and see what's going on in the world. But internet cafe was a big inspiration to me as far as like how an establishment could be run. And it did demonstrate that when you have a resource to share with the community, then the community brings back to you, so that, you know, it's sustainable. Like I said, you're not going to get rich doing that, but, you know, if the people want a resource, they will support it. And you will, you know, so that was really a big part of how I decided to run the library too. Like there's a strict no due dates, no library cards policy. It's a free library, and it's all donation based. So, you know, I don't want to put any barriers between people and getting their hands on educational materials. And it looks like somebody kicked down. T. Thank you so much. Who is that? T. The coffee was good too. You know, when the coffee was good, it was good. But when it wasn't, it wasn't. You know, so they worked with what they had. And sometimes they didn't have enough to make, you know, as much coffee or as good of coffee as they wanted to, but they always had coffee on. And me being a coffee head, I you know, I'd always go and then they'd have like the leftover like stale shit at the bottom, and I'd just like chug that shit. But I spent a lot of time there, especially like because I was starting to make content online. They even let me like leave my computer there overnight to upload stuff once in a while. I tried not to, you know, I'd go into town and sit at a Starbucks for like 3 to 5 hours to upload stuff. But another camp that was really inspiring to me was Circus Camp, and that was like the first young people run establishment, and they were there for a couple of years. They made it through a couple of summers and then disbanded. But originally the library and Circus Camp were supposed to be like sister camps. By the time I moved into here and started rebuilding, Circus Camp was no more. So, you know, we even talked about having like signs from one to the other so you could follow on your bike and do like a bike tour kind of thing, you know. And after Circus Camp, like they parted their ways and the camp was disbanded, and a lot of those folks went and became part of Flamingo Camp, which was kind of a sister camp to Slab City Library for a while. And you know, that was cool. And I really do like, you know, working with other camps as well, and having kind of like not like a union, but like, I don't know, what would be the word for it when, like a fellowship. I don't know. So that's one thing that has changed the society of slabs too, is just like the collectivism, not just within individual camps, but also with camps and how they relate to each other. The original Rabbit Side camp was cool. I don't know who or what it is now. It's just it's a camp. I mean, most of it's still there. David says, I like how you just ignore my question. David, you are very self-centered to think that I'm going to stop everything and see every single comment and then take it personally that I didn't see yours. That's embarrassing. Very embarrassing. Yeah, I just ban people from my chat that are like looking for a fight. Not interested. Because you let people try and be fucking bullies for no reason in the chat, they're just going to keep getting braver and it's going to become a bigger problem. So I'm just going to nip that shit in the bud. Conspiracy theorist says, I love the truckers crude at the bottom of the pot. Yeah, that nasty thick shit that tastes like fucking dirt and pencil shavings. Tastes like fucking AA meeting coffee. Fucking gnarly. You know they've just been putting more coffee in there on top of the old stale shit from the day before. So that era of like Slab City having all of these establishments specifically related to bars and bar culture, there was like a lot of pros and cons to it. A lot of the old timers didn't like it because it was bringing this kind of like party energy that was associated with a younger crowd, and you know, a lot of crime with it too, like people getting in fist fights and you know, whatever. And it's loud. You know, some establishments would play music late into the night without any consideration for their neighbors and be like, well, it's Slabs, it's a free city, you can do whatever you want. And it's like, yeah, you know, like one of the first things I learned from an old timer when I came out here is that Slab City is not a town without laws. You are the law in the space that you occupy. And freedom does not mean freedom from consequence. So that was like, I'm glad that I learned that early on, because I might have been a much more annoying person if I didn't figure that out early. Like a lot of people who feel entitled to just come out here and just like wander through people's camps drunk in the middle of the night and, you know, like go into places that they're not welcome or be loud and obnoxious. You know, I can see why the old timers didn't really like all that. But at the time, I didn't really see that because I was in, you know, I was part of that culture coming in of all these shwilly, dirty kids. So for me, it was a really fun time. I had a lot of fun. You know, you could just like wander around all night and be like, oh, those are pretty colorful lights. I'm going to walk over to there and see who's hanging out. And, you know, usually there'd be a fire and, you know, a bottle of booze and whatever, even, you know, late in the night. And you could totally bar hop. What I liked about that was that it did provide like social spaces for people to meet and, you know, talk about stuff without feeling like, you know, they had to, like in Babylon, you know, you go into an establishment and you have to buy something and then fuck off. But out here, you could just like, you didn't even have to have money. You could just hang out at these dive bars that also served as like a social club or something, or a place to get out of the sun. And you could offer to help do dishes or clean up around the place, and they'd let you charge your stuff or whatever. And, you know, that worked really good. And I definitely think I had a lot to do with kind of fueling the bar culture too, because, you know, I was drinking and kind of just like a flagship for that dirty kid shwilly culture. And, you know, just because you're a drunk doesn't mean you don't have honor. And that, you know, but a lot of people just don't, and they don't care, and that's unrelated to whether they're a drunk or an addict or not. Let's see. Aaron's got a Mr. Pibb. Nice. Kisa is saying some weird shit. All right. Les says, Cliff, chill, brother. Yeah, right? Yikes. Some people don't have the culture and social frame of reference to not realize that they're talking like a troglodyte. RV Flies says, I've been watching the Slabs on YouTube since 2015. The town folk streaming helps me see the lifestyle, and I appreciate all that stream. Hell yeah. What differences have you seen in the way that Slab City was back in 2015 to now? And I think a lot of it, like a lot of the change too, has been streamer culture, and I was the first Slab City content creator. And a lot of people, like a Slab City content creator that actually lives in Slab City and frequented Slab City. I started my channel a little bit before I moved into the library. And a lot of people were like not super happy about that because it's a niche society. And I've talked about this before on my channel a lot, my rationale behind it. The reason I started making my Slab City content is because there was content put out by like big production companies like Vice and shit that were really focused on the shock value and like clickbait and showing like the shitty side of Slabs, and I just really didn't like it because I could see that that was drawing in the wrong kind of crowd, and I wanted to show how I experienced Slabs, you know, the real Slabs to me. And that has changed. You know, if I didn't do it, somebody else would have started doing it at some point, and maybe they would have had not the same values as I do and could have caused a lot of damage. You know, it could have been somebody doing it for clout that would put the Slabs in danger. But I've been pretty responsible with it, and where I'm coming from is just that I wanted to, you know, dispel all of this negative, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure. But that has changed it. And, you know, with the internet being in everybody's pocket, it was bound to change in that way anyway. Now there's the whole world watching, and, you know, Salvation Mountain was world famous before Slab City kind of became a cultural phenomenon. So a lot of people already knew about it, but now it's pretty widely known and recognized around the world too, which brings in world tourists and world travelers. That's one of the biggest things is the culture and our livelihood is more based around tourism. For better or for worse. And I personally do like the tourists, like, you know, when they're respectful and they're not dumping trash and just being like, you know, like shitty to people or like classist or whatever. They're great. They come in, they want to learn. And I think it's really important for people that don't live like this to have that exposure to this way of life. Because, you know, the fact of the matter is people live like this all around the world. It's just, we don't hear about it in the U.S. It's, you know, it's nothing special when you look at other places, but seeing it in an American setting is fascinating to people because of the propaganda about the U.S. being really well off. You know, other people in the world look at, until pretty recently, look at the U.S. as like, you know, a wealthy place where like people are living really well and have access to all sorts of stuff, and that's not the case. Slab City proves that. The fact that we have a city like this, you know, a shanty town or akin to a favela or something like that. Let me see. People from Japan and all over the globe come to see the slabs. Yep, that's right. We do have a lot of Asian tourists. This year I've been seeing a lot of Chinese tourists too, but there's always been a lot of Japanese tourists. They love Salvation Mountain. It's really cool. I think it's like you just really never know who's gonna walk through the door. Um, is Slabs less of a caring community, or have I been misled by what happened to the library or over the last year or so? Um, so when I left to go on the road, like right as COVID was like ending, 2020, 2021 or something like that, um, I had been doing a lot of community work up until that point, and I think a year or two, maybe more, I can't quite remember. Slab City Community Group was established, and I've never really been like, I know the history of Slab City Community Group. No shade on people that are trying to like do the best for the community through that, um, except for one person, but they were kind of more of a private club too, and they're doing trash pickup, which is cool, so I appreciate that. But at the library here, I always had a big crew, and I was running like a volunteer fire department for a while, like first responder. I just get a bunch of other dirty kids and punks and travelers into my van with whatever gear we needed for whatever was happening, um, you know, and took care of a lot of that. And other people around Slabs started doing a lot of what we were doing too, because it's like, I don't want to have a monopoly on helping people, of course. And that's one of the things that's really beautiful about Slabs is like, if you have an idea and you have a way to execute it, you can do that. And nobody's going to stop you, especially if it's good for the community. And I had a lot of community-oriented efforts going on through the library, and like medical supplies distribution and dog food and stuff. And other people were doing food distribution and medical supplies, and that became more and more like common among camps here. But after I left, the library over time got taken over by some really shitty people, the type of people that I don't, that are not bringing anything to the community. So that did a lot of damage to this society here in general, where the library before was like a safe space for people to come and have access to reading materials and get free food and supplies and stuff, and meet for like different social events and groups, or come to the bar. It became like a stronghold for the darkest shit. And nobody really knew how bad it was getting until it got really bad. And like I said earlier, around the time that I left was when Fetty started coming into Slabs a lot, and kind of gained a stronghold as well. And here at the library became one of those points. I don't know if what they were doing here, like if they were distributing it or if this was just where they would come to shoot up. I don't know. But it got really fucked up and dark. But what happened was I got contacted by my friends and members of the community about the situation. And long story short, that's why I'm back. And since I've been back over the last few months, at the beginning of summer, I've seen a lot of people really taking charge to band together and work toward making Slab City a more welcoming and safe place. And that effort has been going on since I left, but things got really bad for a while. So, having a library back that people can use that is safe again is a really important part. And having other newer establishments over the past number of years that now are like embedded in the society. You know, they were new at some point since I moved into the library, and now they're just like part of the community, and they're powerhouses. They distribute stuff and organize like all sorts of things. That has been a huge, huge change. And seeing kind of the bar culture from my early days here die out and start to shift more into like post-COVID kind of scarcity era. And now instead of bar culture oriented, it's moving toward kind of an era of like mutual aid and community cooperation. So in a nutshell, that's what the big shift is right now. And I really like, we're not in that era. I really feel like this season, this winter season in Slabs is going to be really important to define the success of that forward motion as a society and as a culture. So if you're somebody that's out traveling and you want to be part of that, we really love seasonal establishments. Like you could come and start a little cafe here and just, you know, for a few months. Like nobody, I feel like a lot of people think that you have to like move to Slab City forever and just like have a forever home here, and that's not the case. A lot of people back in the bar day would come here, like I said, and make an establishment that was just like a temporary spot for like a few months. And they would do like a cafe or a bar or a trading post or a venue or like a club of some type, and then dismantle at the end of the season and then go travel on the road and do stuff, you know, go get some seasonal work and make some money and then come back here in the winter and rebuild their temporary establishment again. You know, it's really hard to build a spot that will last like through the summer. It's a little smarter if it's your first time to just start with a temporary establishment. Let's see. Kay says you went in with the right respective attitude, and that's why you've been successful out there, in my opinion, of course. Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with just the fact that I can physically survive out here, and I'm crafty enough to like build a shelter and structure that will keep me alive. You know, it's a lot. It's really difficult out here. So I always tell people, you know, if it's your first season out here, get here early in the winter season. Like get in the fall, September, October, and start building then, and then see where the winter season takes you. And if you're planning to be here through the summer, you need to start building your summer dwelling when you settle in. Like you need to, you know, but it's important to know whether you're going to be here or not. And if you don't know, you can always join another camp and come up with some type of, you know, agreement too, because there's places that have been here for a lot of years and would love if you built a little structure that you can run as an establishment during the winter time, and the, you know, it'll be in their jurisdiction or their yard or something, so they can keep people from tearing it down while you're, you know, out for the summer. White Russia says, I remember when you used to drink and play guitar on the stream and I'd get wasted watching you. I'm now alcohol free for 2 years. Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I think my quitting drinking too, like, really set a precedent for a cultural shift away from drinking. And it's not just me too. There's a lot of people that are leading camps now that are recovered from different substances and really trying to set an example for the community. Like, you know, this is where we're at right now. Our focus is on community effort and support and mutual aid and offering resources and support for people that want to recover, because I'm sick of overdoses and I'm sick of people being found dead in their campers. most of the time that's what it is. It's from, you know, not necessarily like the overdose or overconsumption itself, but just like the passiveness of not taking care of yourself day to day in an extreme climate when it's crazy hot. It takes a lot of work to like actively keep your body alive, and if you're not even doing the bare minimum for yourself, you're a lot more susceptible to not waking up after, you know, the shit comes out of your system. So there's a lot of folks that are in recovery that are trying to help bring other people out of recovery, and that's been like a recurring theme over this past summer, is reaching out to people that are struggling and helping them to get the support that they need so they don't die out here. All right, we're at an hour. Does anybody have any questions related to the topic of how Slab City has changed? I'll take questions. There's 71 people in chat. Get your thumbs out your asses and hit that like button. Also, if you want to get down with a kickdown, I would love that. Maybe one of my mods can post links to my money apps. You can donate directly through like Venmo or PayPal or Cash App, and YouTube doesn't take a big fat cut. And that helps me to be able to buy food and get food for my dog and my cats, and also to run the generator. If I can keep running the generator, I can keep doing daily live streams. So if people want to see me keep talking about these things and do like topic streams again like I used to, which is in my opinion where I really shine, you know, it just a dollar per stream would make a huge difference. If like half of you donate $1 every stream that you watched, then I would be good and I could keep going. And it looks like Rob K kicked down. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, dude. White Russia is asking for the Cash App link. Can somebody get that? Claire says, I have a question, but it is not related. Well, it depends on the question, but I'm focusing on related questions. Sapphire just posted the Cash App in the chat there. You can ask your question, I just might not answer it. So, you know, worst I can do is say no. Unless it's like really rude or something, I guess. Then I might publicly ridicule you in the chat, to the chat. Man, I really wish I could find my fucking tablet so I could see if anybody's kicking down on Cash App or Venmo. Where the hell did it go, man? Oh, hey, found it. Now let's see if it's charged. I'll give it a whirl then. Is Nick still with you? No. Nick is not here. He left like weeks ago. So I've been without a crew. My ulterior motive to doing this series, because I'm going to start a Slab series, and if people are donating when I do these Slab related live streams, then I can keep doing them like I said. But my ulterior motive is not only to attract good people to the Slabs that like really want to just have fun and, you know, build stuff and create a social space or whatever. I want to bring those types of people here to the library, and because I need crew. I really need crew this season. So I have a lot of big ideas for bringing back the library as an establishment, but I can't build infrastructure if I don't have any crew. So if you're somebody that is interested in throwing down with that, like, you know, hit me up. It's hard because like whenever I put an open call out like that, there's people that like have way grandiose ideas that are just like, I can, you know, I don't want to say like I can tell that they won't work, but also like when you come up with really grandiose ideas without first like scouting, I'm a true, like I'm a scout. I've been a scout. That was like a thing that became a big part of who I am back in my Dirty Kid days, like actually going to places, boots on the ground, seeing what things are about with my own two eyes. All right. But, you know, if you're making all sorts of big plans, oh, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate you so much. And anyway, once in a while, a super chat is good just for engagement on YouTube. So it's, you know, you got to feed the beast. But if you want to donate directly so that I get all of it, because YouTube takes like 30%, and even that, it might be more, we don't know. There's no transparency with like how YouTube handles the money, but it does help. So, you know, thank you very much. Let's see. Speaking of which, see if anybody kicked out on the Venmo. Like, which big plans? Well, of course, there's rebuilding. There's a lot of rebuilding that I need to do, and you know, the structure is here. I want to get the bar running in full swing again, because that was always my way of making ends meet. You know, there's a lot of tourists coming out here, so it's just a good passive way. Like, not everybody wants to just give you money, but if you give them like a cold drink or something, they'll tip very generously, you know, etc. As well as I want to get the med supply distribution hub up and running again, and be able to do you know, basic medical treatment for people that can't go to a doctor, you know, like physical stuff. I treat like infections and wounds and stuff. And I would really like to get first responders together again, and do more food distribution and supplies. And, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done at the library to make it able to sustain itself infrastructurally as well. Like, I got to rebuild a huge portion of the fence, which will make it more defensible here and more of a clear perimeter. Another thing that I really want to do, and that I wanted to do for years, is build out a space specifically for a barter shop. Like, the library has always been a trade shop and barter shop. God, this thing is fucking ridiculous. It takes forever for anything to happen, and then the screen shuts off after like fucking 10 seconds. So I've been just like unlocking and locking it and waiting for shit. Oh my god, this is so annoying. I need to like reset stuff and also probably do updates on this thing. I'm literally just trying to see who kicked down on Venmo. The free table. Yeah, the free table's still rocking, and it's always got good shit on it. But yeah, getting it going again in conjunction also with a barter shop, like a physical shop that you can walk into and look at stuff. That's something I want to do. But I can't run everything. You know, I can't be doing yard work and also running the bar and also first responding and also doing medical stuff for people and getting supplies for people and also running a barter shop all at the same time. That's just not going to happen. I got to pick, like, you know, a couple of things at a time. So if I have people here that are camping and throwing down a few hours a week to help with those establishments, then I can build for those and have those running. Damn, this is really fucking annoying. It's like the apps are crashing too. Oh man. Can you get mail yet? Yeah, I can get mail. That's P.O. Box 642, Nyland, California, 92257. Or, you know, you can look up the address for Slab City Library and they'll take my mail. Yeah, this ain't loading shit. This is really fucking annoying. It says I have 48 cents. I don't think that's right. Man. What's going on? Oh, White Russian kickdown. Thank you. And Rob K earlier. Allison Foley. Oh shit, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say people's full legal names. My bad. And KC. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why it's not. Whatever. I'll fix it later. I got now that I can, you know, I can start working on my tech again, like my laptop and my I almost said iPad. I don't have an iPad. My tablet here, and I can start working on moving video files around and working on some editing again. Kay says, that's me. Thank you, Kay. Rob says, I'll send you some supplies soon. Yeah, shoot me a message or something, because I would rather have, like, less of something specific than a lot of things that aren't necessarily the most useful for me at this time. And that goes for anybody that wants to send stuff. Like, I like having a lot of things that I have to like put away for later or like guard or distribute can be a lot more work than I am able to put in right now. So if you want to send stuff, don't send me books. I have a whole 40-foot RV storage room that's like half full of books that need to go up on the shelves. I need lumber, I need nails. Mostly I just need money to buy all these things. And I'm not doing like construction right now, it's too hot. But soon I will be doing a lot of construction. But yeah, there are some things that you could send me that would be useful, but like I said, really only specific things. Otherwise it's going to be more trouble than help at this point. List what you need. Go join my Discord server. I don't want to sit here and list all the things that I need right now because I'm already over my hour and I do have other stuff to be doing. But you can message me or join my Discord server and I can put up a list there or something. Because I'm not like soliciting for people to send me stuff. If this was a live stream where I was like, hey, please send me stuff, then I would list all of those things for everybody and promote that way. But I'm wrapping up a stream about how Slab City has changed. What do you need to fix the leaky roof? It's not that it's leaky. I need lumber and tin. I'm gonna just rebuild it because it's just like, it's basically a trash pile at this point. It's working, but it is just a trash pile at this point. White Russia says, have a nice weekend, Corn. I gotta jump off. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, like I said, mostly funds. Because with funds, you know, if I can put stuff away and start like creating a savings again, then when things pop up that I need that I couldn't possibly like foresee, then I'll be like, oh cool, I got the money for that, I can get that. You know, that's the most direct way to help. And it's the easiest. And conspiracy theorists posted my Amazon wish list, which I totally forgot that I had. Yeah, there is an Amazon wish list that I've been putting some things on there as well. So if you want to look at the type of stuff that I've got on there, then you can take that. Go to that. I mean, are you going to go train hopping soon? No, I'm holding down the library. I'm here until I have more crew. So that's my, like I said, that's my ulterior motive for doing these Slab City talks. Like I said, I want to get more good, industrious, and ingenious people to come out to Slabs and help facilitate that and promote Slab City in a more positive light. than it has, especially in my absence. Um, and also attract more people that want to camp here. There's a lot of space for camping, and there's room for like, if you wanted to be here longer, if things were working out really well. I'm just looking to rebuild crew. Y'all are looking for good people to come out and build a community. Well, we have a community built. That's the thing. We want people to come and join our community and be part of it. A lot of people come out here and they think that we don't have community and we don't have stuff going on and people working on things between each other, and they're like, I'm gonna come and change the face of Slab City, and I'm gonna be the community center, do this and that. And that's not community minded. If you're not looking for the community that already exists, then you're already not in a community mindset. Not saying that's you necessarily, but that's what a lot of people come here with that idea. Kay says, have a great weekend, everyone. I'm a parent, pickup line, and I'm up next. Oh, hell yeah, send it. Have a good day. Anna says, I apologize for my wording. I understand completely. That's cool. Hell yeah, thank you. It is, that's one of the biggest shifts that I've seen since being back for the last few months, is that there is a lot more different camps that are running their camps and also working together to create a better Slab City. And I want to see more of that. So that's, that's the new era we're ushering in. And there's a priority on recovery right now. So also donating to me directly helps with that, because I've been helping to get people to get things that they need, especially since it's been hot. And I want to offer rides to people to social services office so they can get EBT and get on medical, and be able to bring people to their medical appointments so that they can get on meds to help to curb their addictions. And I'm also looking to start a recovery group here as well. But I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, and I don't want to build these resources without being able to back them. So I want to try and build a little momentum here. That's why I'm doing more streams. I'm starting to do more streams again, and be able to kind of crowdfund that. So you all can be part of that if you want to help with changing the culture of Slab City for the better. That's why I'm spanging so hard. So thank you to everybody that donated. Conspiracy says, sending love, fam, Cheese Dog Mafia. Hell yeah. Ditto what fam says. Sick. Satan, you want a little treat? We're gonna give a little treat to Satan. You stay right there, you baby. Look at you, you're so cute. You're so cute. Oh. I just picked up a big ass bag of these nugget things. You want a little nugget? A little nugget from my baby Nugget? Here you go. There you go. Yeah. You're so sweet. And Satan is like I said, she's really struggling as far as her mobility. She really can't move her back legs very well at this point, which is really sad, because she's always just been super athletic and she loves to run. That's her favorite thing in the whole world, and now she can't do that anymore. And she's been just having pain, and I need to buy her a doggy wheelchair at some point. Not quite yet, but it's getting to that point. I'm gonna need to do a fundraiser for Satan or something, but I'm sure that'll go well, because send your favorite emote if you love Satan. There's a lot of people out there that love Satan very, very much and care about her. She's almost more famous than me, really. So that's another thing that I need to really get on my shit for. Yeah, I've been kind of coasting off of a very generous donation a few weeks ago, and that's starting to. I have $100 left after all said and done, which yeah, plus the donations from today. So And I do have the money set aside for the battery bank specifically as well. That didn't go anywhere. I'm just not counting that with all the other expenses. And that's another big update on getting power here that's not running on the generator. And I'll show you. So I do have a battery bank now. Thing is, I don't know, and I do have the other components. I'm just going to show you real quick so my phone doesn't overheat, because it will overheat very quickly. This is not like the battery bank that I want, but this is what I got. And that's a bunch of 6-volt batteries. They're old. They're not going to hold a charge after dark, but during the day, if I'm able to find the appropriate way to wire up these panels, if they'll work, I don't know if they'll work, then I should be able to, possibly before the end of the summer, be able to start running the AC during the day off of solar, which would save so much money. And instead of burning money all day, every day, running the generator to keep my baby cool, I'll be able to just use the sun for free. So it's like, it's one of those catch-22s, you know, you got to have money to save money or whatever. You got to spend money to save money. But yeah, so I do have a battery bank. Now I just have to like figure out if those panels will work or if I need to buy whole new panels too. I think, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I am not an electrician, and there's a specialty for like solar electricians as well. And I'm neither of those. I'm just somebody that's lived out in the desert long enough that I've had to just figure shit out just to get by. So I've been doing a lot of like learning and research and trying to figure out like how I can put like mismatching pieces into a solar system, a high power solar system, you know, like capable of putting out like 2 kilowatts of power at full sun. So that's a hefty learning curve, I must say. But yeah, I'm working on it. I'm actively working on it and studying every day, so that, because like when you get into power at that level, you know, there's not much margin for error. That's a lot of power, and it can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm not trying to like bang things together like I used to until something works. You know what I mean? So I may or may not have all the components that I need. I was hoping to get brand new, updated stuff so that I wouldn't have to do all that work. But you know what? I got what I got, and my motto is you work with what you got, and that's kind of the whole thing about my operation here in Slab City. You know the band Black Flag? Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with any of what I'm talking about, but if you're asking if I'm a punk, then yes. Hi, baby. All right, any more questions before I fuck off? Ah, sweetie. Oh, you want some more water? I got you. I got you, baby. I'm gonna grab Satan some water real quick. That's another thing I gotta do really bad today. I gotta go and haul some water. Can you guys still hear me out here? How about now? Testing, 1, 2, 3. I'm getting further away, over to my water filtration center. I'm getting Satan some hot water because it's out here in the heat. Let's take a look at what the temperature is. Oh yeah, it's saying 120, but also there's a sunbeam directly hitting the thermometer, so I imagine it's probably like 110. Like I said, maybe 110, 115. I don't know. I'll check the other thermometer under the tree later, but I don't want to get that far away from my phone right now. Here you go, Satan. Drink water. Let's see. At least you understand the scale of it, makes it trickier. Have seen so many people online just stick their hands right in a dangerous electrical situation and think it's okay because they don't die. Yeah, hell no. I'm all about safety and like knowing what you're doing, at least enough to make like what's the word I'm looking for? Calculated gambles, like taking a calculated risk. You know, I know enough to know what I don't know, and when I'm in over my head, or if I can kind of just like figure a few things out and do it. What advice would you give to someone interested in Slab City who's never lived in a desert? That's kind of there's a lot of like assumptions kind of layered into that question, which I could rant about for an entire fucking stream, honestly. But you know, in Babylon, people live in a place, and you're tethered to that place. A lot of people that come through Slabs, like I was talking about before, were travelers and dirty kids who would come out here seasonally. So my best advice is come out here and scout first, and build a temporary spot, see how it goes, meet who you want to meet, and just plan for either staying or eventually moving out, and not moving out, but like being, a lot of people that come out here are nomadic. There's really only about 150 year-round residents. It's a special breed. A lot of them, like me, were travelers before, and have, you know, built a space here. But most of the people that come through Slab City are coming through during the winter time, and they're nomadic. So they have Slab City on their circuit. They'll be here when it's nice and cool, and then they'll leave and go get work during the summer. Don't you miss punk shows in the desert? There was literally a punk show out here like last weekend. It was dope. Slab City punk shows are alive and well. We got it going on here. It's fucking sick. Be over prepared. I don't know about that either. Being over prepared, if you're preparing incorrectly, it can actually be a detriment. Anybody that's ever carried a backpack on a long, like, multi-day hike and overpacked knows, because you're carrying a bunch of shit that is not useful in that situation, and that, you know, a lot of times that stuff is expensive and you don't want to let it go. But if you don't let it go, then you're going to keep carrying a bunch of shit unnecessarily that isn't helping you, and that will slow you down. Thanks for the info. Yeah, no problem. Check out my other videos too. Like, go on my channel. I have like a Slab City related playlist. I haven't updated in a while, so you could just search my channel for like Slab City and related stuff like that, and it'll pop up. But I have talked for, I couldn't even guess how many hours about Slab City and, you know, how to this and that. Any more questions? I'll be here as long as people are asking questions, but the moment you stop, I'm gonna fuck off. So if you got a burning question, now's the time. If you want me to keep hanging out with you, make something up. I don't know. Ooh, I'm gonna put a fucking energy drink in my cooler for tomorrow. I got the Trans Pride energy drinks from the event that I was just hosting. I always get these like cases of the, I call them Trans Pride Monster energy drinks. It's funny. Which one do I want? Chat, vote which one do I want. Do I want Ultra Blue Hawaii? And this is for tomorrow, not today. I'll do my midday energy drink. Or Classic White Ultra. That's how you get to Agartha. Those who know. Or Punk Punch. Both ironically and unironically. Which one? You want the blue or the pink or the white? Classic. How many flock cameras in Slab City? 0, buddy. We would not. No. I'm trying to imagine. That's such a funny fucking. I'm trying to imagine what it wouldn't last for fucking 5 minutes. That would be funny as hell. I remember that video you did on the homemade washer you made. It was cool and good idea. It was not homemade. It's a hand crank washer. And I don't remember making that video because I was drunk as shit. That was probably the drunkest video, that the drunkest live stream, and I've done a lot of them. I should do a playlist of like all of the drunkest streams that I did, because like I'm really good at maintaining, or I was, you know, I don't drink anymore, but I think that a lot of people didn't know unless they like watched a lot and really kind of got an idea. But like I don't think a lot of people knew that I was like blacked out for a number of those, which is fucking hilarious. All right, I saw most people were telling me to do the classic white. No, I see pink is going. Nope, we got pink. All right, that's the most selected. So I'm gonna put a pink one in the cooler here. Hell yeah. Ironic and unironic. I like the punk punch, man. There we go. And I got a fully stocked cooler right now because I had to take a fellow to the emergency room last night, and I'm not going to go all the way to Raleigh without doing a run, and I had run out of food. So I spent the last of my funds for that yesterday. So I'm really grateful for folks that kicked down today. Minnesota cut them all down. Yeah, Minnesotans don't fucking play. Would it be chill to come in and bartend at the library for a bit, nomad style, just come in and out seasonally? Yes, that is exactly what I want. Yeah. And, you know, back in the early times of the library, I was hosting parties for travelers. And that was a really good kind of boom at the beginning of the season to get a lot of those folks who were coming through here seasonally that wanted to just like hang out and run the bar and chat up tourists and, you know, dust bookshelves and stuff. And then that would attract more people in, of course. So it kind of, you know, propagated bigger crews back then. And I would love to have crews of, you know, travelers, hobos, tramps, etc., that just want to be out here for, you know, a couple weeks or a couple months, that sort of thing, and be involved in the community without having to jump in both feet and build a whole new establishment from scratch. And there's other camps too that might be more suited for certain people. The library is, you know, I'm definitely going to talk about what I'm looking for at the library on a different stream. Shamoman says 5 best punk bands right now. That is not related to the topic. I'm looking for questions related to the topic, which is how has Slab City changed in the last few years and, you know, overall. But we're past an hour and 30 minutes now. So unless there's a really good question, then I'm gonna fuck off. Because I don't really like streaming just to stream. I'm not trying to just like, I'm not trying to maximize my screen time with you people, you wonderful folks that have joined me today. I'm not trying to like maximize engagement. I don't do 3-hour streams. It's not my style. Yeah, I will be doing probably 1-2 hour max streams most days this week that are Slab City related. So if you have other questions about Slab City, not related to today's topic, then leave a comment and maybe I'll answer it on my next stream. How do you think the changes in the world at large have affected the slabs directly? In a really big way. To put it in a nutshell, like COVID changed everything for everybody. The way that we do things, the way that society kind of runs. So like those years during COVID completely changed slabs. It was really dead here. Tourists did not come out here because tourists weren't going anywhere. So a lot of people didn't have those resources coming in and couldn't make money. A lot of people left, and slabs got kind of a reputation for being like really shady again and unsafe in a number of ways. And also, because of cultural shifts, there's been a lot more trans people out here specifically. There's always been trans people in Slab City, but now there's like a pretty fair percentage of people that either are full-time slabbers or seasonal, which is cool because I love being around other trans people, and you know, it's like, oh man, my friends, you know. But it's also an indicator of where we are as a larger society, because people come to Slabs because there's nowhere else for them to be. Society hasn't left them room. So it's, you know. I'm in another country, what would consider visiting. I wonder what options to get money and food and stuff are. How does that work? That's not really related to today's topic. Go and watch some of my other videos. Minnesota Black Poemology says, never mind, I just looked up Slab City. Hell yeah, welcome. I said Minnesota, but it's MNN. I don't know if you're from Minnesota. I was born and raised in Minnesota, so that's why my brain just like went there. That's really interesting. Yeah, it is interesting, and you know, that's another topic too that I can spend an entire hour talking about. Last free city in the U.S. Their playlist posted on the channel if you'd like to check them out. Yes, conspiracy theorists. Thank you. And I will be working on updating my my page and my playlist too, so that people can find newer stuff. I haven't had a chance to do all that until just very recently. Now that things are kind of like stabilized here, and I can run my AC during the day, and I can work on my computer. Otherwise, everything overheats. So I will be working on stuff. I will be streaming more again, yeah, I think that's all I got time for today. I do have other work to do. Thank you for all the great questions and for joining me today. If you haven't yet, follow my channel. I don't know, subscribe and stuff. If you want to throw down for the aforementioned community efforts and keeping my dog taken care of in her old age, and you know, all other stuff. If you want to keep me streaming, money goes to gas for the generator right now until I am able to set up the solar system. That would help. There are links in the description, and my mods have posted links in the chat. And if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment about what you would like me to talk about next. All right, I appreciate you all so much. Satan says she loves you. Huh, Satan? Huh, baby? All right. And hopefully I'll see you in the Discord server if you want to come check that out. All right, take it easy, folks. I'll see you.